Dang. Science being unfinished would have giant gaps. So how do you split off from the attenuation of what just being hypnotized is from like this low frequency is how it's the question, what would be the best embalming fluid that would gut out and get everything to be taken out as clean as possible, or it would have to compensate the adrenochrome system, the endocrine system, and plasma that's sewed inside of the blood cells that allow them to be full as opposed to deflated during decoagulation. It's just when you have things like inflation and then that's caused by something that was released that turns into an outbreak. Well, now you've got a condition that's similar to nature, such as you let nature run its course. And then when you pick up a cold, if you're smart with the cold, you let the cold run its course. And so when you've got two similar outcomes, but two drastically different domains, the range can be one of the two or both at the same time. The giants of, you'd say nature is one. You'd have a giant of the economy, but in the entire globe would be of an outfit for the giant. So the reason why when bodies are put under by the underkeeper, they go to the coroner first to undergo an embalming, where they take all the guts out with embalming fluid, and so that when you're passing near a graveyard, it doesn't stench of death. As a kid, it's like a game to hold your breath whenever you're passing a graveyard, and to keep that where it is and not grow it outwards, it'd be a different. So it's as though turning a clock on its face to have it read time. If you're having an analysis of your own that you have to guess on, but then someone's speaking for you, that's like having an atom trying to read its nucleus, pretending that you're inside of an electron orbital and saying the electron orbital has nothing to do with these readings, wherein that which no one can do that because we only can observe stuff from outside of the atoms, because no one's made up of just nucleuses. Everyone has electrons, as how surface tension allows for there to be touch and pressures as the electrons pushing against each other, because negative and negative forces together make for what friction is. Some items would have a marking that if you break the seal, then you buy it. And the more that this is advanced with something like cutting the ribbon and rolling out the red carpet, is something of manipulating the seal to be a dynamic of what normalcy could be. And so like if you've got a configuration of actually believing what the seal is based upon propaganda, whereas if there's propaganda, it wouldn't be necessary if the situation was hopeless. And so what hopeless could mean is when someone has got important jobs, but is only qualifications of no job. And then if that is what the shortage is from, it's weeding out all the good members that would have anything to do with having any jurisdiction of what a free will is. And so that's a collective. But then the people who went with it end up getting sick. And so that's a shortage. When even drawing straws, you got the short end of the stick. Well, you're the winner chicken dinner. Unfortunately, also short on the end of receiving what normalcy is. And then having board members be replaced and recycled with making people resign who don't agree to go along with this new seal. And so then the new seal starts gaining legs, having a leg up on the competition the more that the board is recycled. That, and again, with people who don't agree with what they're doing and then they resign. I'd often mention the scenarios of burning in a lake of fire and then getting mashed with teeth in a continuum to describe what the torture would be inside hell. But then if life was a living hell, it would be of a continuum of the following. If there was guaranteed that a rock at the top of a hill would fall down to the very bottom, that guarantee would be made. And then having to push the rock up the hill for eternity because it's the guarantee that at the top of the hill the rock will never stay stable, is like having the rug pulled out from under your feet every time that you take a step forward. Or the case of falling through a bottomless pit where it's a bottomless pit so you never stop falling. These two together are in description of what hopeless is and how they're intertwined with the mashing of teeth and like a fire of like the torture along with hopelessness. My North Star is the truth, and I don't really hype something up unless I know it's of a great concern. And so when you're drawing parallels, if it's just concentric circles, it highlights something, but it misses the point entirely. And so in order to not have like this whole illusionary contradiction, it's got to be known that in Wicca, witchcraft, they actually change what things are, but it's from just focusing in on this low energy state, and it actually is an absorbent of electricity, and the fine makings of that electricity actually are put forth in through however they do their circles, their coves, covens, throw some salt over your shoulder and knock on wood. What I mean by this is the depiction of a strobe light when it's going off is spectacular. But if you are put inside of a circle and you hit a strobe light, it's spectacular. But then if you put bars about the circle, and so it's almost like a circle with bars inside of it, and you're inside of the middle of those two things, and you hit the strobe light, it's gonna start a more fantastic picture. And so that's being done It's actually utilizing what electronic configurations are so great at. And actually it's emulating like what a microchip is, which is a module and antennas together as one. A module is just like the game Foursquare, and if you were to play like a full game of that, the rules would be like put into these specific trajectors of what the ball can and can't do. And so those trajectors, aside from the square, would be in a certain build on from that square, and that's what a module would look like.